All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So today I want to tell you about, or I want to talk about offline trips, right? So, usually, yeah, I'll tell you about the pros, the cons, and my personal opinion on the whole issue. So, yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so what are the pros of offline? Basically, when we talk about offline trip, we're talking about any trip that you take without necessarily, how do I put it? The customer does not have to book you, okay? Usually that happens when you're already familiar with the person, or sometimes some customer actually uh, be like, hey, let's take it offline or something like that. So anything that is not regulated by the app, Bolt, Uber, Rider, InDriver, whatever app, that is any rideshare app is an offline trip, okay? So that's what an offline trip is. Okay, some of the pros of an offline trip is very pretty straightforward. You are avoiding the commission payment. All right, the rideshare platform like Bolt and Uber, they take 20% commission for every trip. So if the customer gives you 1,000, Uber and Bolt, they are taking 200 out of that 1,000. But if you take it offline, you're probably going to avoid that commission charge and still get all the money. That's a bit greedy though, but that's one of the benefits of offline trips. And offline trips also, I don't know if this is an advantage, but it actually allows you to bond on perhaps a personal level with some of the customers, especially when they don't have to book. They know you, they get very familiar with you, and yeah, I don't know if that's an advantage, but yeah, anyway. The main thing there about offline trips is actually avoiding the commission payment. That's the major thing. All right, speaking of the cons of offline trips, man, the cons are quite big, oh. But it just seems like for some people, nothing beats not paying 20% commission. So whatever con you have to bring, it's okay, as long as I don't have to pay any commission to Bolt or Uber. Let me tell you about the cons, some of the cons, yeah? One of the major cons is when you have to argue pricing with your customer that you have taken offline. Let me give you an instance. A person decides, okay, can we take this trip offline and all that? And then after you get to the location or the destination, I should say, the customer is like, okay, I'll give you, say, for instance, 3,000 for this trip. And the other person is like, 3,000? No, 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 no. It's not good. Like you remember I had to wait for you in that place and we had to take this diversion and then we had to make this stop. How about just kind of like, come on, add something for me. It's not fair. How about whatever. And then the other person is like, no, it's very much fair. Come on, I didn't even waste time there. And the other place, it was just a very quick stop and all that. How about, come on, this is good. This is very decent, right? That's what the issue begins to be. It begins to be a harbor situation. Everybody's saying, how about this, how about that? So, an offline trip often tends to have that issue. Okay, everybody just keeps feeling like, no, they deserve more. The other person feels like, no, you don't deserve more, and all that. That's the biggest issue with offline trips. Now, let me make a very quick analysis of things. Okay, I don't want to say it's good to go offline or it's not good to go offline. The truth is that both of them have advantage and disadvantage as well. Yeah, they do. So, but let me give you an instance. For instance, now, quite recently too, I was on this trip. It was on Uber. I'd gone to a central area with this customer, some three boys or so. So they told me to wait for them, that I'm supposed to take them back to where I picked them up from. So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I left the app on, you know, and then when we finally came back to the location, when we checked on the app, the amount it came was 9,700. The truth it was that I was really excited because I was expecting maybe 6,000 tops, 7,000, but never 9,600, 700. Yeah. So, you know, if it was an offline trip, we would have to bargain that. That's what I'm trying to say. But since it was an online trip, even I didn't feel like it was up to a 9,700. Okay, I granted I waited for them. Okay, but ultimately, perhaps if it was an offline trip, I would have gone. Oh, okay, just give me 7,000. Let's just call it even. But this was 9,700. Okay. However, of course, I still had to pay commission. I guess that's the issue there. But for the moment, I mean, because they paid cash, transfer and cash or something. So for the moment, it just felt like, oh, on just this one trip, I'm getting something like, because they gave me 10,000, I gave them 300 and change. So that's one of the benefits of an online trip, I should say. Okay. Okay, now a couple of things I want to say about an offline trip. Okay, I notice most of the drivers are the one always asking to go offline, always asking to go offline. The moment they pick up a customer, they're like, yeah, can I just go offline? Can I just go offline? Okay. Uh, that can get annoying. That's the truth. Okay. For some customer, they feel safer if you keep it online, especially women. Okay. They feel safer that it's online, so they can share their trips and things like that. But if you're insisting on the offline, you tend to come off as, bro, what's the problem? If I'm still going to give you the same amount of money I'm giving you if we go online, why are you telling me to go offline, right? They may not understand that you're trying to avoid commission payment. Okay, so don't push it. Don't push it. You can request, but don't push it. If the person just acts a bit uncomfortable, just let it be. It's just good sense and all that, okay? Another issue with the offline trip, I wouldn't call it an issue so much as something you should pay attention to whenever you're taking an offline trip, is the pricing. Okay? For instance, whenever you carry a person to a particular place, you realize that, okay, the person's fare might actually be 1,000. Both will say you should take 700 from this person, then they will compensate you with 300. Okay? Now, you need to understand that in that case, you have actually gained 100 naira more, because the commission is going to be calculated for the entire 1,000, and the commission for 1,000 is 200. That's 20% of 1,000 is 200. Okay, so basically both is going to be owing you 100 naira more. However, if you're going to take an offline trip and then probably ask the customer, okay, let's check what it is on the app, and then we can go offline. Now you check it and you see 700. If you actually take that trip and collect 700, that means you have lost 100 naira. I don't know if you get my, I hope you get it, okay? So basically, if the trip again was 1,000 and then both compensate you with 300 and the customer pays you 700, that means both is actually still owing you 100 more. But if you go offline and just take 700 from the customer, then it's a problem. Now, I've had some people say that usually they will ask their customers, are you on promo? Are you on any promotion in terms of pricing before we go offline, so that it's not like for a trip of let's say 700, I'm collecting 400 from you. It doesn't seem like much of, you've not gained really, okay, and you've not done any good to yourself by avoiding the commission, because it would have been much better if you actually did take the commission, or rather take the actual amount and pay the commission. You would still have made more profit than when you went offline. Let me give you another instance. Now, I met this one pilot. He said, I met him in, I think that was in law school. Okay, I met him in law school. Now, he told me that he had just come down from the airport, and I was curious. I said, how much was it? He said 4,500. I was, what? 4,500 from Buhari to the airport? Because on the app, you tend to see prices like 6,500, 6,200, 6,300, sometimes 7,000, depending on the odds. But I think the least amount would come around six. Let's just say 6.5. Sometimes it's 6.3, but let's just say 6.5 for the purpose of this video. Now, why have you taken 4.5? And then I literally asked this question, and he was like, it's offline now, it's offline. I could not give him this analysis, but then in my head, I was making calculations. I'm like, okay, dude, if you had paid, Jesus, if you had actually collected, or rather run the trip online, you would have made much more than 4.5. You probably would have made probably 4.8. If my calculation is not incorrect, you would have made more than 4.5 even after paying commission. So you have to factor these things in while you're taking somebody on an offline trip. Make sure you're not losing, because that's something I feel like many people tend to overlook. They'll just check the app and it's like, yeah, it's 400, let's go offline. And then you go offline. But then the actual amount on board is not 400, it's probably 600. Okay, and even after paying commission on that 600, you still have some change. But if you go offline and then the person gives you just 400, it's not like you've actually lost, but the truth is you would have made more if you were online. I'm not generally preaching that everybody should take an online trip. Definitely, if you have some customers, they would prefer that you guys do offline, because you have that informal relationship and everything like that. So that's just something I thought I'll throw in there, so that you'll have it in mind. The next time somebody wants to go offline, make sure that you're not losing as the offline fellow. One of my friends told me a story that one time there was a mad search in town, yeah? So he took this person to Gwagwalada. Based on the search, it was around 8,000 to get to Gwagwalada. That's not the actual, the normal amount, but based on the search, it was 8,000 to go there. And then the person was like, if you can wait for me. He's like, okay, fine. If I'm still here, then we can go back. Then he looked at the map and saw that there was a search. So when she came back, he asked her to rebook again. He could have done offline, but he asked her to rebook again. And when coming back, it cost 9,000. All right. So basically, he has 17,000 just from one person. Now, if he had gone offline, if that person was an informal customer, they had gone offline. Normally, it depends on where you're going from in town to Gwagwalada, but probably you'll be seeing a cost of around 4,000 to 5,000. Okay, so he would have just made perhaps 10,000. But because he went online, took advantage of the search, because that's one thing offline will never give you. Nothing like a surge advantage. No, if it's offline, it's offline. Nobody is calculating that there is a surge pricing on anything. So because of that surge, he was able to get 17,000. That's 7,000 more than what he would have gotten if he had gone offline. So think about the offline thing before you're quick to think that's a better idea. All right, calculate, make your calculation and your findings properly. All right, so finally, what we're saying is that if you're going to go on an offline trip, make sure you make your calculations and you get it proper, so that you're not losing instead of gaining. Okay? Don't be greedy, man. It's just 20%. It's not really. I don't know. I don't know why you want everything for yourself. God will judge you. So pay your 20% and do online. Offline is also good, though. I hope I'm not preaching one thing. Offlines are good, onlines are also good. Make your calculations right, okay? Don't be like that kind of person that's often too quick to do offline, and then you're not factoring in cost and expenses. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. Okay, I'll see you next time. All right, bye bye.